I got a marketing joke for you. Ready? How do you grow a business fast? Get more leads. That's not a joke. No, let's get more leads anyway. Stand-up was never going to be my thing. Luckily for you, digital marketing is. In this video, we're going to share 15 lead generation principles to help you generate more leads through your website. Now, these tips come from the Exposure Ninja consultancy team, and this team spends all of their lives, their working lives, so pretty much all of their lives, helping businesses to generate more leads through their website. And these are 15 of the most commonly recommended things that we're suggesting businesses do with their websites. Using these principles, we've helped some of our clients grow to over 400 leads a day. We've helped other clients generate so many leads they've had to turn off their ads. And we know from our own experience that the more leads you can generate through your website, the faster your business can grow. So we're going to be focusing on your website and how to improve its ability to generate more leads. We're not talking about how to get more traffic to your site. We've got other videos on that. Okay, so all of this stuff starts with the website performance. If you have a really high converting website, you can throw traffic at it and it turns that traffic into leads. Every piece of digital marketing that you do becomes more profitable. Conversely, if your website really sucks at generating leads, you can throw loads of traffic at it, you can spend loads of money on ads, and it's still not going to work. Okay, so let's get into the 15 tips. We're going to start with tip number 1. Usually a good place to start. You know the quote from John Wanamaker: "Half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is, I don't know which half." Well, poor old John clearly didn't have conversion tracking set up properly on his website. Using Google Analytics conversion tracking, you can measure which traffic sources are generating the most leads. This tells you which areas you want to turn up and which areas you want to turn down. And it's really important that conversion tracking is set up properly on your website, because without this data, you can't make informed decisions. You also typically want to track not only conversion, so people that might have filled in a form on your website, but also clicks to call and clicks to email as well, because all of these can be an indication that people are getting in contact with you through whatever traffic channel they came from. And we have a separate video series all about Google Analytics if you need some help with that. Tip number 2 is to include your main call to action in your website header. So you see here on the Exposure Ninja website that following you down the page is the header, and we have this big fat call to action in the corner that says request my free review. Now, this is really important because it means whatever page somebody is on of the site and wherever they are on that page, they can always see our primary call to action. And your header is a great place to put your call to action because it's visible right at the top of the page, and often if it's sticky, it will follow people down the page. Now, if you have a particularly long call to action or you don't have any space in your header, alternative implementations of this can be to have your call to action sticky at the bottom of the page, or to just repeat your call to action throughout the page so that visitors are never too far away from the main thing that you want them to do on your website. By the way, that free review, you should request it. If you want some help with your digital marketing and you want our consultancy team to run through your website and recommend your top digital marketing priorities over the next 6 to 12 months, then click to request the free website and marketing review from exposureninja.com. We'll send you over a 15-minute video that shows you how to improve the performance of your website, but also how to drive more traffic to it through things like search and social media. So request your free review from exposureninja.com today. Tip number 3 is that if you're a lead generation business, you want to include your call to action form above the fold on every page of your site, including the homepage. Here we are on apexbridging.co.uk, which is a site that we built, and you can see the call to action is nice and prominent above the fold on the right hand side here. How can a bridging loan help you? Fill in your date, details below, and we'll be in touch to arrange a no obligation consultation. This is very simple. It helps people get closer to their goals, and because it's visible above the fold as soon as someone lands on the page, it's extremely clear what people are supposed to do when they land on the site. The 4th thing that you can do to increase the volume of leads that your website generates for you is include accreditations, awards, and memberships above the fold, preferably just under the header section on your homepage and on as many pages of your site as you can fit them in. For example, here we are on the CHAS website, which is another site that we've built, and you can see here we've got this partnering with the UK's biggest brands to ensure compliance. This gives CHAS massive credibility when a visitor lands on this page, because they can immediately see that if they choose CHAS, they are in good company. Tip number 5 is to include a clear positioning benefit statement above the fold on every page of your site, but particularly your homepage. Here we are on caterpillar.com, which is another site that we've built, and you can see the main headline above the fold here is luxury cat furniture for happy cats and stylish homes. This tells you exactly what the business does. It tells you the area of the market that it's positioned, and the text underneath tells you why you should buy these products. This is a very simple thing, but it's also not a very simple thing, and many businesses struggle to describe exactly what it is that they do and for whom and why people should buy from them very succinctly. We actually have another video about how to develop your positioning statement, and that really helps in this area. Working out how to describe what you do in a compelling way that makes sense to visitors, so that they land on your page and immediately say, this is for me. Tip number 6 is to choose a high quality featured image to use in your featured image section. So the featured image section is this piece here, which is above the fold. It's usually the background to your CTA and your main header. Now you'll have a featured image on most of the pages of your site, but your homepage featured image will typically be the largest. You want to have a really high quality featured image here that represents your business, because your featured image can make or break your visitors' first impression of the business. For example, compare this site here, which has some design challenges, but the featured images look really quite homemade, and it immediately gives you an impression about the business that is maybe not that favorable. Compare that to a site like this, which has a high resolution, good quality photo, which actually kind of answers one of the main objections that people might have about going on the National Accident Helpline website, which is namely that it's full of sharks and it's a bit sleazy. Well, this is just a smiling, happy guy, so it completely disarms you. But also, because it's high quality, it gives you a much better first impression about the site when you first land on the page, compared to something pixelated or something a little bit more amateur. Staying on the National Accident Helpline website for tip number 7 is to include reviews or credibility statements above the fold as well. So you can see here that National Accident Helpline are using their Trustpilot score, their average score, and the number of reviews, all three designed to build credibility. As soon as someone lands on this page, gives them that same sense of, right, I'm okay here, this is safe. And by the way, of course, you'll notice that they've also got calls to action in the header and, of course, a CTA form above the fold as well. Tip 8 is to repeat your calls to action throughout the page. Now, your call to action, obviously the main thing that you want people to do. Broadly speaking, you will have two types of visitor on your site. You'll have the impulsive folk like me, who just see that something is right and then they just go for it. And then you'll have other people that like to research and spend a bit more time gathering information, like my wife. The impulsive folk like me, you can just give us a call to action straight at the top of the page, we'll fill it in, job done, next thing on the to-do list. Whereas somebody else who's a bit more considered and likes to do a bit more research might not convert on that first call to action because they don't have enough information to make an assessment. So it can really help them if you repeat your call to action or echo it throughout the page. For example, you'll notice on this site that we've built, you have a main call to action at the top of the page. You also have credibility statement above the top of the page, but then you also have repeated calls to action throughout. And of course, calls to action in the header that is sticky as well. The main thing that we want to get across here is we want to make it very clear to people what they are supposed to do on the page, and we want to offer them a call to action as soon as they are ready to take that next step with us. So maybe they need to read a bit more about the business, maybe they need to read some case studies, maybe they need to read some credibility, whatever that thing is, whatever that point where they go, right, okay, I'm ready for this. We want them to have a call to action visible, and we want them to be in no doubt exactly what they are supposed to do next. Now, this isn't just for your homepage, but every single page on your site. So here's a sub-page on this site, one of the service pages, and you can see we start with a call to action above the fold, and then we echo it throughout the page as well. So here we have another one. So once people have read a bit of information, why sell through us? We'll give them another call to action. How does it work? Another call to action. So we're continually repeating this CTA. They can be in absolutely no doubt. Here's another example, same sort of format. Information, then get my free cash offer, which is their main call to action. And by the way, this isn't just for the core pages on your site, this is also for blogs as well. So here you see a blog post, and you'll notice that these calls to action are peppered throughout the blog posts as well. Now you may be thinking, well, this feels a little bit redundant, this feels a little bit like repetition needlessly. Well, here's the thing. When somebody visits your website for the first time, they are not as familiar with it as you are. They are not as familiar with the thing that they're buying. They have all this uncertainty. It's a little bit like when you go on holiday and you step off the airplane and you're wide-eyed. Now you're picking in lots of stuff, but you're also missing a lot of detail. So what can feel repetitious to you on your website because you're familiar with it, actually is required for the visitor who's all wide-eyed and completely overwhelmed by the whole thing. That's what's required to break through into their consciousness. Okay, tip 9 is also about credibility, and that is the use of testimonials and, if possible, video testimonials. Now, we're heading back to our good friends, the National Accident Helpline here, because they use testimonials fantastically. Now, theirs are obviously professionally shot video testimonials, which is great. You may not be able to do this if you don't have the resources. You may be able to get video testimonials from your customers on their phones. That is absolutely fine. Or you might just be able to get written testimonials. That is also okay, but the key thing is your use of testimonials on the website. So here you can see National Accident Helpline is using it again to build credibility and to say we help people just like you. So this is kind of de-risking the purchase, but also making it okay to use a service like this by showing real people. So in your testimonials, you can handle the main objections people have from doing business with you. You may also want to just demonstrate that you've got customers in different types of different genders, ages, races, so people can recognize themselves in that and say, this is a business for me. But use your testimonials on every single page of your site that is designed to generate leads. And by the way, that's most of the pages on your site. The next thing that you want to do if you want to generate more leads is consider how people are finding your website. Many people think of their website as a homepage with sub-pages behind it, almost like a book. You open a book, you read the first page, and then you go through the other pages in order. But that's typically not how people use websites, because people will come into your website from all sorts of directions. They'll be landing on all sorts of pages on your site, and in Google Analytics under landing pages, you can see exactly where they're coming through. Because of this, we don't want to assume that our visitors have any prior knowledge of our business on our sub-pages. For example, on the House Buyer Bureau site, under Sell Your House Fast, this is what we call a sub-page or a service page. This is for people that are interested in selling their house fast. So what do? Well, we actually take a very similar approach to what we did on the home page, in that we have a very clear call to action above the fold. We have a bit of information to let people know that they're in the right place. We have some more information about the business. We then start reselling the benefits of using this business rather than another one. And then of course we have these repeated calls to action. How does it work to answer any potential objections that they might have? And another call to action as well. Then we've got the testimonials and credibility. So we're using all of the elements that we used on the home page to establish that credibility and answer the questions that someone might have. But we're using it on every single sub-page of the site as well, because we're not reliant on people coming in through the home page first and then going to a sub-page. That means that we can run ads to this page. We can essentially use it like a PPC landing page if we need to, because it is self-sufficient. It doesn't require prior knowledge in order to use it. And this is a fairly common mistake. People will spend a lot of time working on their homepage optimization, but they'll completely forget their sub-pages, only to find out that most of the traffic coming into their homepage is direct branded traffic. It's people that have already searched for them, already know about them. And it's the people coming into their sub-pages which are maybe new to the business and they haven't optimized their website experience. For those people, they've just been focusing on the homepage. Okay, the next tip is to consider using Google's Optimize platform to run some split tests. Now, about running split tests. Lots of people, when they're running conversion optimization split tests, they will focus on real trivial, meaningless things like the color of buttons or a couple of different words of text in a headline. That's okay, and there's certainly a time and a place for those, but I would urge you to be a bit bolder in your tests. For example, can you test a completely different page layout? Can you test a completely different series of testimonials or a very different headline and above the fold section? One of the great things about testing big things like this is that you can find big improvements. It's very unlikely that changing the color of a button is significantly going to increase your conversion rate. But what's also going to happen is that unless you're getting hundreds of thousands, millions of visitors on your site every month, you're going to have to spend a long time collecting enough data to see that there is a clear winner in a test where the difference is very, very incremental. That's why it often makes a lot of sense to test bigger things. So test a completely different approach. Totally different benefit statement, completely different call to action. And we're even okay with multivariate testing, changing lots of things at the same time. But then we won't know the thing that has the impact, people say. Yes, but you will know which complete variant won. And the reality is that elements on a page interplay against each other anyway. So even if you're just doing a single variant test, you don't often know how changing multiple single elements are going to play off against each other. Okay, we've done 11 tips. We've still got 4 more for you. Before we go on though, if you haven't subscribed already, consider subscribing to this channel and leave us a comment. What's been your favorite tip so far? If you've already subscribed, then awesome, you're technically amazing. Who else do you know who might benefit from this video? Consider sharing it in your social channels to become an instant influencer. On with the tips. All right, next tip is to test livecall.io. Livecall.io, really cool little widget, no affiliation to us at all, but you get this little bouncing phone icon in the bottom. If your business is heavily reliant on generating phone leads, this is a great little tool to test. All it does is offer a callback. So you click on it, you fill in your name, you can choose a topic if you want, you enter your phone number, and then it says it'll call you back. What happens is when they click on that, it'll then ghost call you and then recall the person who's put their details in the form. So it's almost like you're calling them back. Your sales team or your customer service team just get an inbound call that says this is a call from number blah, 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 blah. So you can then proceed as if it's just a regular inbound call. Super cool tool, and it can be really powerful for conversion rates as well. Tip number 13 is to supercharge your content by getting really clear on your USPs or benefit statements. This is one of the most surprising things to me working with larger clients in Exposure Ninja is that not every business knows why their customers should shop from them. And in fact, actually sometimes the larger the business, the less clear they become on exactly what makes them different. Unfortunately, this results in bland, uninteresting, and uncompelling copy. Uncompelling, is that a word? Incompelling? Non-compelling? Who cares? You know what I mean. Boring! And we've got other videos on how to identify your positioning statement, but it's really important to understand your customers' pain points and, if possible, build a list of the pain points. What keeps them awake at night? Why are they searching for your services? What is it that they really want in a solution which you can offer them? The clearer we can be and the more closely we can match with where our customers are at, if we can get into the conversation that's going on in their head and use the language that's going on in their head, that makes our copy way more compelling and can do wonders for our conversion rates. Penultimate tip time. Calls to action at different stages of the buyer journey. Not everyone who lands on your website is going to be ready to convert and become a lead right now. Some people will need a little bit of warming up first. If your website only looks to generate leads from people that are ready to go now, what you might be missing is the people that are further up the funnel who haven't yet reached that point yet. So what you can do is offer an alternative call to action, a softer call to action as we like to say, which drives them into an email list in order to request some sort of guide, some freebie, request further information, something that's much softer than your typical lead capture. Now, of course, you'll have to incentivize them to do this, and you have to incentivize them with something that is compelling to them at the stage of the buyer journey that they're at. So let's say, for example, that we're a solicitor's firm and we're looking to generate legal leads for personal injury claims. Well as having people that are ready to submit a claim and ready to discuss their claim, we might also want to capture people that are in the process of researching whether or not they have a claim. So we might have a guide to personal injury claims, or we might have some success stories of people who have submitted personal injury claims. And what we're seeking to do is cater those people earlier on in the buyer journey just to get them ready to build a bit of a relationship with them. Now, what you'll do with these people is you'll put them on an automated email sequence, which leads us to tip 15, and that is to build an automated indoctrination sequence in the background, which takes your top of funnel traffic that has converted and entered onto your email list and automatically indoctrinates it, we call, which is a little bit of a nasty word, but it helps people to become more familiar with your business. It teaches them about what it is that you sell, and when they are ready, they will then convert and become a full lead. And again, we have some email marketing videos all about how to set up these types of things and how to automate your sales process. Link to them there somewhere. Which will help you to do that. Okay, so we've just done 15 conversion optimization tips to generate more leads from your website. You're gonna need a cold shower and 6 months of development work. Anyway, these things can be really powerful, particularly when they're stacked on top of each other. So if you tried none of these things already, then fantastic, you have loads of low-hanging fruit. If you've implemented some, then great, you can implement the rest. If you've implemented all of them, well, aren't you a goody goody? Let's recap with the tips so far. Number 1, set up accurate conversion tracking in Google Analytics. Tip number 2, get your website call to action nice and prominent. If you can't put it in your header, then put it sticky on the bottom of your page or have it repeated throughout the site. Tip 3, above the fold call to action forms. Tip 4, showcase awards, accreditations, and large clients to build credibility immediately. Tip number 5, use a clear benefit positioning statement above the fold. Tell people exactly what you do, for whom, and why they should buy from you. Tip number 6, use a high quality featured image which represents your business effectively. Low quality photography makes you look rubbish, even if you're awesome. Tip number 7, demonstrate credibility by using third-party review sites and put those reviews as prominently as you possibly can on your page. Tip number 8, echo your call to action down the page. Remember, not everyone is an impulsive person. Not everybody is ready to do business with you, become a lead right now. Some people need a little bit more warming up first. Tip number 9, add a testimonials section, not just to your homepage, but every single page on your site that is designed to generate leads. Anytime you want someone to trust you, you have to give them a reason to trust you. If you can make these video testimonials, then so much the better. Tip 10, optimize your subpages. Using all of the above tips, remember this isn't just about your homepage because people come from all sorts of different places and land on your site from anywhere. So we need to make sure that every single subpage on your site also stands alone and doesn't require prior knowledge. Tip number 11, run split tests with Google Optimize. Be bold! Tip number 12, test livecall.io. Super cool little callback widget that sits on the bottom of your site. Tip 13, supercharge your website sales copy by being really clear about the pain points you're solving and why people should do business with you. Bland, boring copy will not cut it. Tip 14, add a lead magnet to attract people that are further up the buyer journey who aren't yet ready to become a fully fledged lead with you. And tip 15 is to relentlessly follow up with them, automatically of course, to indoctrinate them, get them familiar with your business, and eventually become a lead when they are ready. So that covers 15 ways to increase the leads for your site. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. If you've already subscribed, then freaking awesome, you're amazing. Then consider sharing this on your social feeds. But before you go, drop us a comment. Which of these tips are you going to implement first on your website? And then come back and let us know, how did you do? Don't forget to visit exposureninja.com/review to request your free website and marketing review. If you need some help with your digital marketing, you want to increase your website's conversion rate and drive more traffic through your site, this free review will show you exactly how to do that. One of our amazing consultancy team will analyze your site and your competitors and lay out a prioritized action plan that you can follow to generate more leads from your site. Now, this service is available to businesses that have a budget for digital marketing because the things that we're going to recommend do require a budget. But even if you don't have the budget, request a review anyway, and you will be sent a free training which will help you get to a stage where you do have a budget. Until next time, see you soon.